Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Roger Scott. I'm the head trader for Wealth Press. Today is the day, or tonight is the night. Can you imagine? It's the presidential election. I'm wearing my neutral colors. This should tell you everything about who I'm voting for. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to represent it. Anyway, I want to talk about global economy. Then I want to talk about earnings. We've had a lot of earnings come out. I believe we only have 150 or so, but we have a really good idea of what's to come. We have about 320, 340 that have been already released. So we've got a good indication of what's going on. Let's talk about global economy. Let's talk about economic calendar. And then let's talk about the election. So let's get into it right now. So we had PMI, purchasing manufacturing, finally yesterday. It was good. We have the ISM manufacturing and we had construction spending. Construction spending was okay. It was actually really, really good for residential, and it was not so good for commercial. So that, remember, they're put together. So you can't really separate commercial and residential from this report. You can separate it from the summary, but not from the actual report. It combines them together. But just so you know, residential is looking really, really good. Commercial real estate spending or construction spending is not. Manufacturing is looking really, really solid. It continues to make better highs, and factory orders are looking pretty good as well. So I'm liking how the manufacturing sector is moving along. It's actually right now the best sector in the economy. I'll show you that right now on my cumulative scan. At least it was yesterday. These things do change, but let's take a look here. Yeah, materials, basic materials and industrial. Materials, industrial go very well with manufacturing, folks, and factory orders. Again, and it seems like China is not falling back to this COVID-19 pandemic as bad as Europe is, or at least that's what they're telling us. But we're able to see them export things which are necessary for goods and services in America. Because without a lot of those parts from China, we just can't sell stuff here in America, and we don't profit either. So it's actually really, really good that China's getting their you-know-what together. Today, the big reports for today, we've got obviously the factory orders, but I'm telling you that report is going to be solid. And then the election. Expect the market to be a little bit subdued today. We have FOMC starting tomorrow. And I don't think we're going to get the election results today unless the election results are so out of whack from each other where the winner is clear. And based on what we're seeing in the polls, it doesn't look that way. It looks like they're going to be really, really, really close. But again, who really knows? Nobody really knows. I mean, remember what happened last time. Clinton was leading. The market was pointing to a Clinton win. And look at how it all ended up. So I'm not ruling Trump out, and you see my colors today. So again, the news is not going to be that relevant. The earnings are not going to be as relevant for the next 24 hours. Right now, we need to focus on the global economy and the election. So let's talk about global economy. Global stock market and U.S. futures rose Tuesday on investor hopes that a possible victory by challenger Joe Biden in the election might lead to more economic stimulus. The market has been up for 2 days straight now. Traders are betting Biden might push for a bigger U.S. stimulus package if he unseats President Trump. That would require support in the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans. Some incumbents also up for re-election this week face challengers from Biden's Democratic Party. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something important and interesting, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to mention it again. I've looked at stock market election winners over the last 50 years. Democrats actually have a slight win over stock markets going higher. But the biggest winners occur when the Senate is aligned with the president. That's what you really need to look for. So if you have a Republican president, you want a Republican Senate. If you have a Democratic president, you want a Democratic Senate. That's when things really move. That's when the stock market really, really moves. So again, we are going to see what happens, and we really don't know at this point yet. Which party gets control of the Senate may be just as important as the presidency. If Democrats can gain complete control of Washington, Many investors expect them to deliver a big dose of support for the economy, and that's exactly right. The market's going to go higher, folks. I'm going to tell you right now. Either way, the market is set up to go higher because of the aid that's going to come into the stock market. The amount of liquidity from central banks and Feds is not going to stop. This is just a little election wrinkle. They are either Republican or Democrat. Money's coming into the market. Democrats and Republicans have been haggling about a stimulus renewal for months since the last round of supplemental benefit for laid-off workers and other stimulus expired, but a deep partisan divide has so far stymied progress. And again, we don't know what's going to happen today. Investors will also monitor U.S. Federal Reserve announcement Thursday for the FOMC, which starts today for the latest decision on interest rates. Don't hold your breath and don't expect anything to happen. Fed already told us they're not going to raise rates for a long, long time. But it is interesting to see how they're going to reflect based on the election on Thursday. The U.S., what happened here? Got a little upgraded here. The U.S. Labor Department will release its monthly jobs report the following day, Thursday and Friday. We've got big employment data. About 130 companies are scheduled to report this week. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about right now. For the tech sector, we've got third quarter result for about 80% of the sector, which is significant, about 400 stocks. Total earnings for not 400 stocks. Sorry about that. Probably about 200 stocks. But because the S&P is not all tech, obviously. I just realized that. But about 80 stocks out of about 80 or 90 stocks out of the NASDAQ 100, which is significant enough to get a good picture. Total earnings for tech are up about 10.6% from a year ago on 5.8% higher revenue, with about 95% beating EPS estimates and 90% beating revenue estimates. Now, before you get really excited, keep in mind, these revenue estimates and these expectations have been beaten down substantially. So don't hold your breath and think they're really, really great, but it's good that they're better than expected. We now have about third quarter results for about 350 S&P companies, or about 70% of the index. Total earnings are down about 7.2% from the same period a year ago on about 4.3% lower revenue, with 86% beating EPS estimates and 78% beating revenue estimates. Looking at the third quarter as a whole, combining the actual results that are to come out with estimates from the still-to-come companies, total earnings from the index are expected to be down 10.5% on 2.8 lower revenue, which is slightly better than expected. The key factor from the market standpoint is how estimates for the fourth quarter evolve in comparison. But so far, the numbers are looking better. Now, I want to show you something very, very important that's relevant for tonight. Now, I don't know if the market is following the polls or the polls are following the market, because the polls are showing Biden winning, and so far the market is agreeing. And again, folks, I'm voting for Trump, but I need to be honest and fair with you. This is the 50-day moving average. This is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is up only 0.60, and it's below the 50-day moving average. You could see that. This is the 50-day moving average. This is where we're at right now. And we're up 0.59. The S&P 500, both the QQQ and the SPY favor Trump. The S&P 500 is up 1.13, and it's trading below the 50-day moving average. The Russell 2000 is up 1.66, outperforming both the S&P and the NASDAQ, and it's above the moving average. All right? That's the key. It's above the 50-day moving average. It's not in twilight zone, and it's outperforming. And the Russell 2000 is sharply favoring Biden to Trump. Why? Because small caps will get more stimulus with Biden, and we won't have this darn trade war, which we don't need right now with China. And that has been suppressing the Russell for over a year. Let me show you, actually. Here, let me show you. The Russell peaked out right here, January 2020, while the SPY peaked out September 2nd, 9 months later. But now the SPY is up only 110, and the Russell is up 1.63. So right now, before the open, the market is still favoring Biden. So again, don't kill the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm voting for Trump. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican, actually. But I'm going to tell you, the market is favoring Biden. So I'm always going to go with whoever the market's favoring, and the market's favoring Biden. So keep that in mind. And I will be giving you updates today, a little later, and actually, that's what I want to talk about right now. Folks, 2020 will likely be remembered as one of the most significant election years in American history. Probably the most significant, if I had to guess. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, one thing is for certain. You don't want to be trading the stock market alone during this week. Not even close. Not during election week. That's why we've made our whole Wealth Press team of experts available to you tonight on election day, ready to answer your questions in real time. It's happening tonight. We'll give you tips on how to election-proof your portfolio and show you how to profit from massive waves of stock market opportunities headed your way. All you need to do is prepare to click the button below and sign up for the Wealth Press 2020 Election Summit. Folks, I'm going to talk about what indexes will lead after the election, the top stocks that rally after the election, what sectors to avoid, the best Biden stocks, the best Trump stocks. All of that is going to come out tonight. You cannot afford to miss this. There's no cost. There's no catch. Press the link below. Sign up for the Wealth Press 2020 Election Summit. Do it now. Protect yourself. And I'll talk to you later. This is not a time to miss out. This is a time to catch opportunities. After the last election, the next several months that followed were nothing but pure winners. I'll talk to you guys soon, and I'll see you tonight on the 2020 Election Summit. Bye. Have a great day. And remember, get out there and vote. Hopefully for Trump.